Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. So Bitcoin holders, get ready for Powell. Fed Chair Powell is coming. So let's talk about what to expect tomorrow, how much the Fed fund rate will go up by, and what Bitcoin is about to do. All right. Let's get started. Welcome, guys. It's finally here. It seems like every single month or every other month, whenever there is a FOMC meeting, things get very exciting. But more so this time around than ever before, I would argue, because Bitcoin is climbing. The Fed is scared. Banks are scared. So this is the perfect tsunami if you think about it. Okay, this is a perfect storm that's brewing. First of all, you could see Bitcoin is still holding above 28,000, 28.2, okay? And we are pressed right against this resistance, which is about 28.8, right? We have not seen this since 2022, and Bitcoin looking like it's consolidating and looking like it's ready to pump. It's ready to pump hard, which could be coming tomorrow, right? And of course, tomorrow is the big FOMC meeting, which already started today. It started today. It will conclude tomorrow, and approximately at 1:30 p.m., we will have that press conference. Beforehand, they will announce what the rate hike will be, whether there is one or not. But what's more important is what Powell says about the future. And those reporters have been getting pretty good, asking the tough questions, the hard questions, except this one reporter kind of snuck in the last Q&A session. I don't know how he got in there, asked a ridiculous question. But tomorrow will be a very telling day. It will set the tone for the remainder of this year. I know it sounds like I say that every time, but this time really, because tomorrow could be unprecedented, because we may see the pivot from having a rate hike to nothing. Okay, although most people think we won't see it. Most people that are predicting tomorrow's results are predicting that we will get a 25 basis point hike, which if it comes, okay, it's not a real surprise. It's better than what was priced in before, which was a 50 basis point hike, okay? And that's because of the strong jobs report that we had for this year, for this month, or it was reported this month for last month. We had a very strong jobs report. Over 300,000 Americans found jobs in February. That's fantastic. Okay, and in December January we had 500,000. So because we have a very strong labor market, which unfortunately we are being punished for now, people thought it was going to be a 50 basis point. But now because all the banks are failing left and right, there's a lot of scare and a lot of bailouts that have happened. So there's no way that they're going to be hawkish. No way they're going to do a 50 basis point hike. More likely a 25 basis, but Powell could shock the world with a 0% hike. That pivot may be coming. Okay, so right now, prediction is 86%, 25 basis points, 13%, 0. I'm betting on 0. I don't know. I've been saying this for a while. I may be completely wrong. Well, I mean, it's either I'm right or wrong, right? But I think it's going to be 0. We will see. We will see. I think people don't treat the bank failures as big collapses, but they really are. They're really big collapses. A lot of banks are very fearful right now, begging the FDIC to increase their insurance. A lot of banks are looking to borrow from the Fed, their new borrowing loan program. I think they call it Fed Facility Loan Program. There's a lot of very fearful banks. We only get a glimpse of a few big ones that's kind of struggling, but honestly, there's a lot of mid-sized banks that's really doing bad. And I'm not just talking about the U.S. Obviously, Switzerland was Credit Suisse, not a good situation. And many other banks around the world are struggling too. So I think I'm going to stick with it. Powell doing a 0 basis point. And if so, tomorrow we will see one of the greatest rallies ever in the history of rallies. But if we get a 25 basis point, it'll be fine. It'll still be fine. We'll probably still rally, just not as hard. So either way, I think it's going to be good. Now, if there's an off chance somehow Powell still does a 50 basis point hike, not only will the market crash, but I think people will call for his resignation. Honestly, I think a lot of people will stand up and crucify Powell and ask for his resignation, which I don't think is on the table. I don't think there's any chance that Powell will do a 50 basis point hike, but we will see. We're coming. We're going to see what's going to happen. Now, CZ made an interesting comment tonight. Every decade or so, the same banks fail. We keep them alive, then repeat. More costly each time. Meanwhile, it is incredibly difficult for new banks to be approved to enter the market to compete. New banks are also required to operate in exactly the same way as the old failing ones. Free market? ? It does make you wonder, though. You have all the rules and regulations in place, so as a newcomer in the space, you have to follow the same rules and regulations, which could be quite cumbersome and very difficult. Yet, despite everything that's in place, you still have banks that go under. Why is that? Because you can't have enough rules and regulation to regulate and control greed. Greed of the banks, leverage, the highly leveraged positions that the banks have. You can't do anything about that, right? So maybe we need a new system. Maybe we need to turn to something better. Maybe we need to turn something that's not regulated by the government or by the federal banks or by the FDIC or by any regulators. Maybe we need something that's just free market, decentralized, open to the world, like Bitcoin. And Bitcoin allows anyone to become their own personal bank, really. You could become your own bank just by safeguarding and holding your own crypto in your own wallet that no one could take away from you or control. Think about that. So tomorrow will be an absolutely big day, right? But in the meantime, like I said, Bitcoin is doing very well. We're at a 9-month high. People are getting excited once again. The greed level is rising up, right? So a lot of goodness happening right now. Very, very exciting time to be in Bitcoin and crypto. But it's about to get better. Look at Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Texas, their House introduces a bill to protect Bitcoiners, the Bitcoin miners and Bitcoin developers. Basically, if you're a Bitcoin miner, you are protected. You're not going to be shut down. You're not going to experience any shenanigans, okay? And if you're a Bitcoin developer, you will be left free to develop. Basically, what this bill is trying to say is, hey, if you're a developer or miner of Bitcoin, if you are a proponent of free speech, freedom overall, and you are against the central banks, you come to Texas. That's what it's sounding like right now. Now, it's not approved, but there are a lot of people in Texas that are very, very glad that Bitcoin is here and Bitcoiners are there. So that's pretty positive. And you know what? Other states are going to follow. Awesome. But as for Bitcoin's current movement, I've been showing you guys this, and so many people are making the same charts. Basically, we are mimicking 2019. This is what happened in 2019 before a big rise up, a big pump, and this is where we are right now. Looking pretty similar, right? Coming off from bottom, and we're in this channel that we're about to break, and when it breaks, and technically we're already above that channel, but when we truly break it, guess what? Good things are coming. And what do I mean by good things? Well, the target zone right now for many is around 40,000. Some are calling 50 or 60,000. and some are calling $1 million. So it's somewhere in between all these predictions, okay? But if Bitcoin follows what it has done before with previous cycles coming off from bottom, we're likely to see a repeat of the same kind of gains that we saw before, and that would put Bitcoin right around $40 to $50 to $60,000 within a matter of months. That is what we're looking forward to, and that could very well happen, especially after tomorrow. Especially if tomorrow we get a 0% interest rate hike, it will be phenomenal, and we're going to see everything rally, right? And here's the thing. That's just short term, right? We still have inflation issues. Even though inflation is coming down, we still have high prices. But if the Fed pivots, goes to zero, and maybe later on cuts, inflation will be entrenched. That's a buzzword that Powell likes to say, entrenched. And what does that mean? Well, that means prices, high prices, stay, right? And overall, that proves Bitcoin's point. Inflation sucks. You can't store or keep a lot of something that the government can print unlimited amount of. You want to invest in something like Bitcoin. So if we have inflation entrenched and high prices are here to stay, well, guess what? That's only going to help Bitcoin in the long run and help it appreciate and get to possibly $1 million someday. So if you look at it, short-term, long-term could be fantastic for Bitcoin either way, okay? But we'll see. I think short-term will be fantastic too. Anyways, moving on. What else is there? Well, Bitcoin usage is going up. Ordinal NFTs, very popular. So you have Magic Eden, which is one of the biggest NFT marketplaces out there for Solana, now supporting Bitcoin ordinals. Kind of interesting. Of all the NFTs they could support, now they're supporting Bitcoin NFTs. Interesting. So whether you like NFTs or not, whether you like programmable language or programmable dApps on top of Bitcoin, right? One thing's for certain, all these new innovations is bring more people into Bitcoin and into the space. And those are good things. Very good things. All right. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is this. This was brought to my attention this morning. Some of you guys may have noticed the number 6 altcoin on CMC, XRP, is pumping. And the reason for that is because of my very educational video that I rarely show, but when I do, XRP pumps up to the moon. Okay, so that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is there were some favorable, or maybe just one, I don't know how many came out today, some favorable court rulings that definitely helped Ripple in their case against Gary Gensler and the SEC. So, what are those cases? One came not from today, but from before, where the judge excluded one of the witnesses, the expert witnesses from the SEC. And that guy was the one that basically established the rules on what is a security and what's not. He was brought in to say that XRP is security. Yet the judge excluded that guy. So that means the SEC has really no expert witnesses to define whether XRP is a security or not. That's number 1. That came a couple weeks ago. But today, guess what? Voyager is also helping Ripple's case because the SEC, they may have slipped up. The SEC may have slipped up big time. We know that Voyager went under. Binance.us is trying to buy Voyager, okay? And the SEC protested. They said, no, they can't buy them. And the judge asked why. And then the SEC says, that's because VGX, Voyager's old token, is a security. And we can't let Binance.us buy that security from them. And then judge is like, prove it. Prove that VGX is a security. And the SEC couldn't. They didn't make even an attempt to prove it's a security. So the judge ruled that out and said, no, that's BS. Okay, and now Ripple is using that. Because basically, if the judge presiding over the Voyager bankruptcy case said that VGX is not a security, well, then that means the SEC doesn't really have any guidelines. There's no definitive guidelines on what's a security and what's not. And this is the major thing that people are complaining about. No one knows what Gary is really looking for. He may say it's clearly written, you follow the Howey test and you can figure it out whether or not. You could come in and just register, right? But it's not that simple, and it's different for every case. And all these judges are starting to recognize the BS of the SEC. This is why people are thinking Ripple will win. And I think they will win, and it will be good for not only XRP, but for the entire crypto industry. That is what's happening. Also, what's very suspicious is the fact that the former director of the SEC, he had this interview where he concluded that both Bitcoin and Ethereum are both commodities. Now, that testimony somehow is hidden. And the SEC is trying their hardest not to make that public. It makes you wonder why. What could be said that's so damning that Ripple, or I'm sorry, the SEC doesn't want to be released? So now there are lawyers that are predicting that those documents will be available to the public. Now you figure, why would the SEC want to block this? Maybe because they don't want other crypto projects to utilize it and prove that they're non-securities. Because up until this point, this testimony has been very, very, very hard to get. Ripple had to sue the SEC or countersue to get the testimony, right? So the SEC is trying to exclude this as much as they can, even though, as of right now, Ethereum is still a commodity. And Gary refuses to do anything about it. Even though he's hinting that Ethereum is security, he didn't come out and say it. According to SEC, Ethereum is still a commodity, right? And they don't want that damning testimony to come out, which will probably come out soon anyways, right? You figure, how could a ruling by the SEC can't be made publicly? How does that make sense? They're a public office, right? I mean, how could anything be excluded? It's not like it's national security. So all of these things combined is causing a lot of excitement. There are some people that think that Ripple will win this case by the end of this week. I don't know where that rumor came from, but supposedly it's being spread around, and maybe it's true. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, maybe it's next week, maybe it's next month, right? Whatever the case, you got XRP whales, the XRP army, that are stockpiling right now ahead of the ruling, which is why XRP is skyrocketing today. There you go. There you go. So we'll see. We'll see. If they win the case, it'll be absolutely huge, like I said, not only for XRP, but for the entire crypto industry, because we finally have the SEC and Gary nailed. Okay, they can't just go around bullying people and making rules as they go along, right? It doesn't work that way. We need people to defend themselves and win, and Ripple may just do that for the entire crypto industry. Would be absolutely fantastic. And speaking of Gary Gensler, they go after now Sushi Swap. The SEC subpoenas head chief Jared Gray and the DAO itself. And apparently they kind of knew this was happening. They set up a $100,000 defense fund, but apparently it's not enough. So I don't know what's going to happen. Sushi Swap had a lot of mysterious things happen before, some not so good mysterious things. So hopefully they can get through it. But like I said, SEC is just targeting everyone right now. Like it seems like the entire crypto space. I don't know how they have the manpower, or Gary himself is making his presence known. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're going after everyone, right? So I am backing Ripple. I do want to see them win so the SEC could be humbled just a little bit. There you go. All right, guys. That's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. All right. Let's see here. 50 to 75 basis point. Time to apply at Dunkin' Donuts. It's not going to be 50 or 75. Let's see. Crypto code 88. Question, George. I'm in Canada and my bank, major bank, sent me a letter asking me to lock in my loans from variable to fixed rate, lower rate than right now by 3% at 3.99. I feel like we're going to zero. I don't know. I mean, banks are pretty desperate right now, right? They want you to lock in, I'm guessing, because they feel like that gives you more incentive to not, pull out or refinance with someone else, right? Something like that. But, overall, I think a lot of banks are very fearful right now, very fearful about lack of deposits, also about lack of loans, more importantly, because both are their lifeblood, right? Deposits, how much liquidity they have, and how much loans they have. And if both are dwindling and swiveling down to zero, that's going to be very bad. Very bad. The True King says, buy a minimum of $100 worth of sheep before the bull run. I don't know if that's solid advice, but okay. Jaman, appreciate it. Bug Zero, appreciate that as well. Next bull run started already. You can make that argument. Since we're coming off from bottom, we are recovering. The bull run has to start somewhere. Usually starts after we recover from bottom. And that is exactly where we are right now. We're itching to break higher. We could definitely see 30K. If tomorrow is favorable, we could definitely see 30K even tomorrow. But if not, I think overall we're trending higher. We will probably see 30K by the end of this week. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll get there eventually. Tonight, when I wake to pee, first I will check my XRP. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Did you see Render voted to move from Polygon to Solana? Thoughts? I think that's a pretty bad decision. Polygon is definitely the chain to be on. I don't see anyone excited about moving to Solana. Look at Helium. Helium made that move, and that was almost a death sentence for them. I have no idea why Render wants to do that. Render was trying to come out their own layer 2, something like that. So I don't know. That seems really like a bad move. Thoughts on ARB token price for release to public? I can't make any predictions on that. If you get some, great. That's all there is to it. Alex, I'm going to Bitcoin 2023. Any ticket discounts that you know of? Yeah, I actually have. I have an affiliate code. I just didn't put it up because I thought it's too early to put up, but I actually do have it. Hold on. Let me see here. What's my code? Well, 10% off. 10% off All right, I just posted it. And I put a link. I'm going to pin it to the messages in case anyone is going. And by the way, for anyone that is going, right, I'm trying to work out something where I may have the very first meetup / party there. And I do want to incorporate something with my I Am George NFTs. So it's still early. I'm still working it out because we're still like, 2 months away. But I did want to give you guys a heads up. That may happen. But yeah, I put the code up. Lewis asks, is my 1/4 Bitcoin laughable, or do you think in the future even any fraction of Bitcoin will be valuable? I think the second. The first part, 0.25 Bitcoin is a lot. There used to be articles swirling around about how if you acquire 0.21 Bitcoin, I think, 0.21 and 0.23, you will be in the upper echelon. You'll be in the top 1%ers out there. So it's not laughable. It's commendable, but aim for 1. But in the future, I think there's going to be a lot more. A lot more gains. I read the pump on XRP was from Upbid. I don't know. People this morning was going crazy about it. So yeah. I say XRP's pump is due to my educational video, which I played this morning. It is the most educational video ever in the history of mankind. So it's time for a crypto company to buy a bank. Probably. I think some have tried. DZO. It's crazy how momentum has shifted. This reminds me of when Ray Allen hit the 3 against the Spurs. It feels good. I hated that. Back then, I was rooting against LeBron, and I couldn't believe that happened. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that shot. Ashwin, thanks for making complicated tech and government stuff easy for us laymen to understand. You're welcome. That's what I do too. Like, honestly, I feel like a lot of people just ramble on jargon and marketing terms and all this complicated stuff that no one understands. What I try to do is first, I try to see if I could explain it to a 10-year-old. And if I can, then I truly understand it, right? And that's how I explain things to you guys. And I think you guys do enjoy that. Because ultimately, after you cut out all the jargon and the mumble jumble and all the the lawyer speak and all that stuff, it's the system is not that complicated to understand. And once you know the system, it's actually pretty bad. It makes you really want to opt out and really get into Bitcoin. And that's what I've been trying to explain to you guys over the last how many years. Do you think XRP hits $10, they win the SEC case? Probably not. Can they get back to $4? Yes, but probably not right away. It's going to take some time. But eventually, can they hit $10? I don't know. Maybe. But not anytime soon, I'll say. Is there any chance the Fed can force people to sell their crypto? No. Zero chance. Darwin, you're welcome. That's how I learned. That's how I explain things. And honestly, I have a couple of people on my team, when they do research papers, right? I feel like it's just too much jargon, just copy and pasting. I don't think they really understand sometimes how to explain it. So that's something that I've taught them to do or told them to do. It's like, hey, try to explain to me like a 10-year-old first. And if you could do that, then that means you really understand. You won't believe how many marketing people that can't do that either. I get bombarded with marketing emails from various projects all the time. It's like 10 pages of nonsense. And I tell them, summarize your project in 2 sentences. They can't do it. They will respond with like 5 more paragraphs. I'm like, summarize it in 2 sentences. And 99% of the marketing people can't do that because they truly don't understand what the hell they're selling. They don't. Only the leaders, usually, like the founders and stuff, can truly understand and explain it. But these marketing people, they have no clue of what's going on. And that's why a lot of times you read these web pages, you're like, WTF, what did I just read? What is this project about? It's astonishing how many projects don't know how to market themselves. Astonishing. Let's see. All right, still. What's your XRP educational video? It's, I guard it because it's highly sought after. I have the only copy in existence. And there's just so much knowledge that you gain from it. It's unbelievably knowledgeable. And there's no one that comes out of watching it that isn't amazed by it. It's that good. Paris, I appreciate that. Steve Dawson, appreciated. BMX, thank you for that. Crypto Tucker, I just got done speaking 10 minutes favorably about XRP. You need to just rewind, okay? I'm in love with XRP. That's why I played my video, because first of all, it's so educational. Second of all, no one has it. And third of all, I would love to see nothing more than XRP succeed. And for them, Ripple, to win that lawsuit against the SEC. CKB market cap predictions. I don't follow Nervos closely, so I can't give you any predictions on future market caps. It's not a project I follow closely. I think there's more interesting projects out there. Any idea how much BTC Tesla still has on their balance sheet? Yeah, I could tell you exactly. Right here, 10,725. About 300 million worth. Still a significant chunk, but they had over $1 billion before. Am I still a bull on AMP? No. They basically died off after being delisted from several exchanges and being declared a security by the SEC, and plus a whole lot of companies that supported Flexa have gone bankrupt. So, no. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Overall, Bitcoin is itching to climb higher. Tomorrow will be a big Powell day, although tomorrow morning I'll still be able to stream, and then I'll stream the live press conference. We will see what happens. I think it's going to be a very bullish event. And XRP is pumping to the moon because several good things has happened. And plus, I'm showing this right now.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.